One-piece window kits are a very common modification to your truck. The vent windows, they get old, they start whistling, the rubber's bad. Instead of rebuilding your vent window, maybe just eliminate it altogether with a one-piece window kit. It doesn't take a lot of time, maybe about an hour or two each door. Doesn't take a lot of complicated tools or anything like that. First, what I want to do is show you what comes with the kit. So we've got our two pieces of glass. We've got these felt channels right here. You've got this rubber channel kit that goes around the sides. We've got the whiskers that are a lot longer than what you would normally see because it's eliminating the vent window. We've got these aluminum pieces here that are going to help us install it, and it even comes with the nuts and bolts and the tape right here that holds the window to the sash at the bottom. Tool-wise, nothing all that extravagant. Drill, maybe some plastic spatulas, Phillips head screwdriver. I'll show you what this guy's used for in just a little bit, and a die grinder. So not really too much. Let's get into it. So our door panel comes off nice and easy. It's just 4 screws down here at the bottom. Go ahead and pull it down a little bit and it'll come on off. We're going to be taking the vent window out. It just has 3 screws right here, and then it has 2 screws right on down here. We'll be taking off a back channel back here too. It has a screw on the side and it has 2 of these down here. Now these got all rusted up on me and it's going to take me a while to get these out. A couple of helpful handy hints is you just take a hammer and knock on them a couple of times, and a lot of times that'll bust the rust off and you'll be able to take these out. If that doesn't work, then just use a small drill bit and just go ahead and drill off the head of the screw, and then you'll be able to take these out. So I got a couple of rusty nuts on this. I'm going to take a little bit of time to get these out. I don't want to bore you with that. You stay tuned. I'm going to be right back. You hear? Now, right here in the door, there's a brace, and on that brace, there's a little rubber stop. And what this does is it keeps the window from rolling all the way down. Now, this might be missing on your truck. They fall out quite often. And the reason we need that off is because we got to roll our glass all the way down so we can take our whiskers or our felts off at the top. When I do that, I want to make sure that I'm careful and not do any damage to the door where the clips of the felts go in. So I'm going to go ahead and just gently pry back, and I'm not trying to take it all off at once. I'm just trying to get things to loosen up a little bit. Once I've got that satisfactory, I'll get something like this with a hook on it right here, and I can grab a hold of the clip and go ahead and pull up, just nice and gentle like. Obviously, if you had a truck that was painted, you want to put some tape right here on both sides. And both of these felts are going to come out exactly the same way, basically. It's going to be a loosen up, and then go ahead and pry out. Sometimes they're going to be rusted and they'll just straight up break off on you. All right, now I'll take off the felt that goes right up in here. A lot of times it's pretty old and brittle and just breaks out. Sometimes it will fight you. Sometimes it won't. A little spatula like this is good a lot of times to pry in here so you don't scratch up your paint. So once that is out of there, now you'll be able to take your vent window right here and you'll be able to pull it back like this and up. Because when we pull it up, there's a bracket on the bottom. So we've got to take the vent window, turn it 90 degrees like this, and pull it right back up. So that's why. Now all that's out of there. Now let's get our new piece in. So next what we're going to do is take the glass out of the door. Now this window regulator is so rusted and frozen I can't work with it at all, and the glass basically just fell out. But that's more than likely not going to happen on your door. So I'm going to show you how to do it with this out of the door, make it a little bit easier for you. But what you're going to do is roll the window up about 3 or 4 inches off of the bottom, and then you're going to go ahead and slide the window forward, and you'll come off the back track or the back roller wheel by this little hole that's in here. And then the front, you'll notice, also has a hole right here for the window track wheel to set in. So that's how it rolls up and down, and then that's how it comes off right like that, and you'll lift your window out. There's a brace right here. Now that'll obviously have to come out in order for your one-piece window to go up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out using a die grinder. I suppose you could use a couple of different things, get those out of there, but you want to make sure you cut them back far enough to where they don't scratch your glass. I also like to put a little bit of tape on there just to be on the safe side when I'm putting my glass in. This old window channel that fits right in here, you can see it was pretty rusty and it basically just fell apart when I took it out. Now, luckily we sell these new too. And if you were to take this out of your truck, what you would do is you've got 2 screw holes down here. You'll take those off first. Then you've got one right here at the top. You'll take that out. Then you'll be able to move this down here and bring it on out. Now we're going to do some modifications to this and the sash. Let me show you how that works. So this is the old sash that came out of the door, and you can see it just rusted to hell. You can see the remnants of the old tape that held onto the glass at the bottom. Luckily we sell these pieces new because they are so commonly to go bad. So I'm going to show you on this new piece how to take these off. Now sometimes they're just going to fall off and it's no big deal like this old one did, but other times they're going to stick on there like they were glued on. And so different techniques to get them off is to soak it in acetone. I'll put it on a bit of an angle like this, and then I'll just pour acetone in there and it'll just soak in. I'll do both sides and let it soak in, and then sooner or later hopefully the tape will get soft enough, and then you're going to need to just gently pry off the sash. We don't want to bend this. We don't necessarily want to break the glass. Maybe one of our buddies can use it or something. So just go ahead and try to get it loosened up. Maybe take a razor and cut up in there to get it to work with you a little bit better, and just try to pry it at either side nice and gentle like, and just try to just coax it off. You don't want to rip it off because like I said, we want to keep this thing nice and straight and reuse it if we need to, but we got them new if you don't. Now our bottom sash right here for the glass, we're going to modify this piece right here on the end. What we're going to be doing on that is I want to go about the middle on the bottom down here and make a mark, and on the top right here in the middle and make a mark. Doesn't have to be crazy accurate. Basically what we're going to be doing is just splitting this down the middle. I'll be using a die grinder here to cut it. You could use a hacksaw or whatever, but it's not that big of a deal. You just want to leave enough meat on both sides so that we can take this piece right here and put it in and bolt it back up, and we need enough meat on both sides in order to do that. So let me take care of this, and then we'll go ahead and take care of this. Now you'll notice this little catch right here. It's got the same thing on the bottom of your sash, and we want to make sure that that fits right in there like that. You might have an urge to push it all the way up or something like that, but don't do that. You make sure it gets right into this groove. Same thing with the back. It'll fit in right like that. I'll go ahead and I'll mark my holes. I'll drill them out. And then we've got all of our nuts and bolts that come with the kit. We'll be using these black bolts right here with our nylon lock nuts right here, so you don't have to worry about using any lock washers on that because the nylon lock will take care of that. So I'm going to go ahead and drill these all out and bolt it all together so you can see what that looks like. Give me 2 seconds. All right, so here's what it looks like when it gets done. I like to put the heads of the bolts on this side right here and the nuts on the other side. And here you can see what's happening is that this is split and it's wider so that this will fit into the channel better with the one-piece window kit. Now what we'll do is we'll modify this piece right here, and what we're going to be doing is taking off this little bracket. It comes off by just grinding off the rivets at either side right here. After I do that, I'm going to take a tape measure, and from the bottom of the channel here, I'm going to measure up. I'm going to go to 19 inches. I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to cut off the last few inches of the top of this right here. But in order to cut it at the 19 inches, this brace will have to come off right here. Then I'll show you how to put these back on. Just give me a minute. Let's find this piece in our kit, and we're going to put it on top of this bracket here. So when this bolts into the door, it bolts like this, but this bracket is going to go onto the top. You've got 2 of these little 1/4 screws that are going to go on here. So they'll go on like this. And you might put some thread lock on there because these don't have any locks on them. And then after these are on nice and tight, we'll take this piece right here. It's going to go on this side. And what I like to do is go ahead and put this bolt on through with the nut on the other side. We're not going to be leaving it in there, but I got to get this lined up good. Then I'm going to use some tape right here, and I'm going to tape this piece on. Then I'll take the bolt back out, because when I reassemble it, we'll be using this bolt hole right here, and I'll need to have that out of there. We need to take the vent window apart and modify it also. So when we're taking the vent window apart, all we got to do is just go ahead and just grind out or drill out the rivets that are holding it in the top and the bottom right here, and then this piece will be coming off. What we're going to be doing is saving this channel right here. So let me get this apart, and then we'll see if we're going to get back together. So the vent window comes off like that, and we've got this rubber strip. It's just held on with rivets just like everything else was. We're just going to go ahead and drill out those rivets and take this piece off too. After the rubber piece is off right here, there's still this chrome piece, where normally looks chrome, to come off, and it is also held on with, you guessed it, a rivet. So we'll take that one off also. Sometimes those drill out easy, sometimes they don't. Now we'll take this piece off. And once we get it off, we're going to go ahead and measure this piece and cut it. So that'll go away. Now at the top right here, there's a little 1/8 inch hole right here, about 1/8 from the top. And we want to measure from this side 27.5 inches down and mark that, and then go ahead and cut this, and this will be reusing as our front channel. Now this piece right here, it's going to fit right into the front where the vent window used to go, and this is your channel that you took apart from your vent window. You're going to take it, and it's actually going in upside down. This 1/8 inch hole was at the top, now it's at the bottom, and this is going to go to the top like this. Now right here, I like to leave about 1/8 of an inch or so right here, and then I'll take a magic marker and mark like this. And then I'm just going to cut this triangular piece off here so that it just tucks up into the door nice and neat. And this will here will go ahead and match right on our edge. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second here. Now I'll put this piece back on, and I'm going to push it on up. Now I'm not going all the way to the top. I'm going about 1/8 of an inch, maybe just a little bit further down than that. I'll show you why in just a second. This little screw right here, this countersunk screw, it's going to come with the kit, and it is going to go in the original hole that the vent window went into down here on the bottom. So you just go ahead and stick that screw down there like this, match up your hole, and then go ahead and screw it on. Now, the reason that we're leaving this up just a little bit is that you'll notice that it might be hard to see on the camera, but there's a little bit of a gap between the middle piece and the chrome edge right here. So just like make sure that chrome edge is right on the pivot of the door right here, so it matches up nice and neat. We don't have a gap. So I want to make sure that my channel right here is all the way up and it is firmly against my brace right here. Then what I'm going to do is take a drill, and I'm going to work my hands up into there. I'm going to line it up with that little 1/8 inch hole that I showed you before, and then I'll drill that hole out. Then I'll be able to get a screw on the other side and get it all attached. So let me get this for you. Now this is the little screw that I'm going to be using to attach my channel at the bottom right here. I'm going to put it on from this side of the door and screw it through. I only used an 1/8 inch drill bit to get my pilot hole. Now I'll take my channel back out and I'll drill a hole a little bit larger. I can't have this nut screwing into the door, if you will. It has to move freely and then screw into the channel in order to get it to hold properly. So now I'll take my little screw here and I will put it in my enlarged hole just to help me line it up. Then I can go ahead and reinstall this channel. And what I'll be doing is getting it lined up on the screw in that little hole first. And then I'll go ahead and slide it on here. And I'll double check my gaps and everything. Everything's looking good, so I can go ahead and tighten my screw. Now, this is off the truck, obviously, and it's going to be easiest for us to get in there. But I'm trying to do this as if you were doing it and it was still on the truck. If that is the case, you'll just get yourself a little 1/4 inch wrench and go ahead and screw that on in there until it's all nice and firm. Then we'll get started on the other side. Now I'm going to go install this piece. We're going to line up this hole right here with this hole right here. Door panel, another hole, third hole over from the side, if you will. The kit comes with these bolts that are just a little bit longer and the nuts for them. Does not come with lock washers for this, so either use one or Loctite. And this is a little difficult to install, so what you're going to be doing on this is this will go in like this, then you'll tuck up like this. Now the bottom piece here, if you will, can go in. We're going to get it down, turn it 90 degrees, and then get it in the right position. Now your upper hinge on your door has what's known as a door check in it, and that is so when you open up the door it just doesn't fly all the way open, it stops at a certain point. But the problem with this little check right here is now that this channel is in there, it's going to hit that. So we're going to need to take this off and we're going to need to trim it up a little bit. In order to get it out, there's a pin right here that's going through, and we're just going to hammer it from the bottom. I'm not going to take it all the way out, I'm just going to make the pin go up far enough to where I can take the check out here, and that's it. Now 70–80% of the time these come out pretty nice and easy. I'll put oil on there several days before, get everything all as loose as possible. If at a worst case scenario it just won't come out, you're just going to have to take a drill and drill it out and just put in a new pin. So I'll knock this out. Now when you take this guy out, these might fall off also. They just sit in there in a little groove and that's it. So go ahead and take these out, they're going to fall anyway. So you see how big and fat this is right here? That's just going to bang into the channel. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trimming it about like this right here and taking off all this excess on the sides. One of the things you got to watch for though is it'll either have spot welds or rivets in it, and we want to make sure that we don't cut those off, otherwise it'll come apart. Now when you put this door check back in, make sure that it has these pieces on top and bottom right here, and then make sure that that hook, if you will, that's catching is facing in towards the door. Don't have it facing this way, have it facing that way. So now that I've got this, I can go ahead and hammer my pin back down. I want to do it nice and light and keep a close eye and see when it comes down and make sure that I'm getting it in the right hole in my check here. All right, so once I make sure that I'm in my holes down here, I can hammer this through the rest of the way. Now, this is the original channel that went in your vent window right here, and this is the original length. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this down to 27 inches because we've got this screw down here, so we won't be able to get it all the way down. So we'll cut it at 27 inches. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this side, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the channel in here. I find that if you only put glue on this or only put glue on the channel, when you put them together, they don't stick. So put glue on both sides, then stick them together. All right, see now our cloth channel right here is going to meet at the very top of our metal channel. I want both of them even there. You can take the cloth channel and go up higher, but then it's going to throw you off a little bit. Make sure this is nice and even, because next we're going to be installing this channel right here, and I want that channel to meet right on top right here. If I take this and push it up, we won't have a good meeting right there, and you could have some whistling noises when the wind comes coming on through. So this piece right here, I want you to notice that it has these serrations right here, and then it has these serrations right here. Now these are so it can bend in the corners easier. Your two serrations are going to fit in this corner, and these are going to fit in that corner. And this fits in really nice and easy. All you got to do is just squeeze the ends together and then just slide it right up in here. You don't really need glue for this. I'd make sure the channels were clean and everything. And when you're putting these on, you want to make sure that you don't pull it tight, because if you pull it tight, then you can get like a gap going on here. So when I'm pushing this in, I'm pushing it in and a little bit forward so that it is not going to have any tension on it and give me any problems in the future. And the corners are really kind of your main stickler, if you will. So you really got to make sure that the corners are up in there. So if this was too tight, then it'll pull down here. We don't want that. So I'm pushing it in and up at the same time. Now when you get to right here, what you're going to need to do is just take your channel and go ahead and slide it on down like this. Then you'll get into your opening here and just continue that all the way down. Our sash needs to go on next, and you can see it could go on damn near anywhere. But where it's going to go on properly, what we'll do is we'll get a straight edge right here, and we're going to put it on the edge of this. And then we're going to make sure that this slides over, and when this is even with the edge of the glass right there, you see that? Then we know this is in the right spot right here. So once we've got it there, we'll take a magic marker and we will mark on the glass just on the lower portion. We don't want to get any marks higher up. And then we know where this is going to go. Now this is called glass tape, and it actually has a sticky side to it. Some don't, but our style does. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a little block of wood, and we're going to have a little dead blow hammer, and we're going to take this and we're going to take our tape and we're going to make sure that it's in the middle of our lines right here. And we're going to get our tape and we're going to get it right in the middle, and we're going to kind of bend it over the edges. Now if I have more time, what I like to do is I'll just get some little clips and just clip this on there, and I'll leave it on for a day or so, and it'll make installing the glass a lot easier because you don't have to keep this all balanced and stuff. You could also tape it down, but today we're just going to go for it. And then we're going to stick this on here. I got to make sure that my tape is staying even on both sides here. And I'll bring it down with my hands first. Oh, a little off sides. Okay, about right there. And then we'll slide this on down. Sometimes you get lucky and you can just slide it down by your hands. Other times you're going to have to take a hammer and hammer it down, but you have to be careful because this channel right here it's a bit difficult. So if you were to hammer on that with just a hammer, then you could dish this out and ruin it. So you get a piece of wood, make sure that you disperse the stress over a longer period. We're not on there all nice and tight. What I'll do a lot of times is this excess, this is sticking up right here, I'll cut this off, because sometimes if this is left hanging on there, it'll run into your whiskers up at the top, and you won't be able to get the window to go all the way up, or it'll jam into your whiskers and bend the clips on theirs. So this is all ready to go in. Let's see what it looks like. All right, so our old regulator was really rusted up. I had to basically tear it out of there. And you want to make sure that your regulators are in good shape before you go to all this trouble. But you are going to need to take the regulator out for this next step. Pretty easy, of course. You just have 4 screws right here. One of the kickers, though, is this wheel right here. There's a channel that's right here, and that wheel sits in that channel. All you got to do is just pull it back far enough. It'll pop out of the channel. Then you'll be able to take everything out of that little door there. So now let's see how this goes back together. I'm going to show you outside of the door first, then I'll show you how to do it in the door. When this bracket here is bolted on, these bolts, they stick out a bit far. So I go ahead and chop those off, even with the end of the nut there, and it's going to make it easier to install. I also like to get some sort of protection on the glass so that we don't get it all scratched up before we get it in there. Now, if I had a buddy, I would put protection on both sides and have him hold the glass for me. But today, I'm going to show you how to do it all by yourself if you can. And what you're going to want to do is get one of these little suction cups right here, and it'll stick right on the glass like that. If you had paper on there, of course, it would not hold. So that's why it's only protected on one side. Now let's take a look at how the window regulator is going to go back onto the sash right here once it's in the door, okay? Now right here, I want you to notice there's a little bit of a hole, and right here there's a little bit of a hole. And what we're going to be doing is getting these 2 wheels right here into those holes first. So when the glass is in the door, it's difficult to see these. What you're going to do is you're going to just put this wheel on the track right here, and you just roll it forward, and then it'll just pop right into that hole basically. Then I'm going to take the window regulator and move it back. It's going to go into the other hole right here, and now I am in this track right here. Once that is set, I can take this rear wheel and then I can move it back, and I can get it in the channel of the door and move all of this forward, and then I'll be all set. Now, in order to do all this, you want to have your window regulator pretty straight, about like this right here. Okay? So once again, track pops in, bring this up, rear wheel in, then we'll get the inside wheel in, and then we'll be all set. Now I'll probably have to dial this a little bit to get my holes to line up. Let me show you what that looks like. So now we're getting ready to install our glass. And I took the protection off of my glass here so you could get a better view of what's going on, but I recommend that you get tape right up on here and up against where the whiskers connect so that we don't get any scratching going on here. Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the bolt out of this hole right here so that this channel can move back a little bit and make it easier to install the glass. How we're going to install it is we're just going to slide in our nose first. We'll get it about right like this, and then we're just going to turn it horizontally, watching the glass to make sure that it gets into the channels. We're not ahead or behind, and then we're good right like that. Now what I want to do is I want to be able to see the channel in these holes right here, and in order to do that, I'll take the glass and I'll take it exactly 5 inches, and that'll help hold on to the right spot. Now I'm using the suction cup right there. It's going to go hold on to everything for me. If you don't, just get a buddy here. If you don't have that, just get some tape and tape it up, and then you'll be good to go. So now installing this, we'll get a little bit of grease and we'll get it on our roller wheels. We might want to get some in the sash and on the channel that's right here, because these wheels are the first thing that wear out on your regulators. When you install it, you'll go like this. and then you're in. Now I'm going to get my front wheel on first. I get it on the bottom of the track. I roll it forward, pop, it goes into the hole. Now I'm looking for my rear wheel. My rear wheel is in. Now I'm going to take this, I'll push my window regulator up, and then I can feel my channel. It's right here. The end of it is about right here. So I'll get my wheel and get it in that channel. Okay, so that's all good to go. Now I'll take my window regulator, move it forward until I can get it in this hole right here. I'll take my handle and I'll simply, I gotta be honest, I don't know if I'm going up or down right now, but all you have to do is just rotate this until you see that your holes line up. So I've got one lined up there, and I can get a screw in there. And my other holes aren't quite lined up yet. All I got to do is take this and just go ahead and go up or down. These will go up or down until they line up, and then I'll get a screw in there. So now I'll just go ahead and roll the window all the way up. I'll get my nut and bolt down here and tighten it up. Then I can go ahead and roll my window down and get my whiskers in, or my door felts. So I went ahead and took my tape off, and I want to inspect these slots right here. If they've been pulled out or messed up in any way, when you put your whiskers on, it's going to make it tougher, and your whisker can come out uneven also. So let's take a look at our whiskers here that go to the top. You're going to have two different kinds. One's got this rubber on it, and the chrome strip on this side here, and it's going to go on the outside. Now I also want you to notice that it has this little bend right in here, and that little bend is going to match up with this bend right here. So there's one for the left door, one for the right door. All you got to do is line up those bends and you're good to go. The one on the inside right here, this hairy one right here, there's also a left and right side, and how you tell the difference on those is that you'll see the clips right here. And what you got to do is just take each one and put it up and see if your clips line up or not. So these clips line up, we know this is the right side. If we take this other one out and we try to line up these clips, you'll see that it's not working out. We know this is for the other door. So when we're installing these, I generally find it easier to do the outside one first because it has that rubber on there that makes it a little bit more difficult to deal with. And what you're going to do is, you don't want to try to get this in and then just get one clipped in and then the next, because you'll get this all kind of kicky-cartered and bent up and stuff. So you kind of have to pull back this rubber at the back right here and then slide it in. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to get each clip kind of just basically set up right in its slot. And I want to have everything feeling nice and comfortable before I try to put in my, actually pop the clips in. Because if this gets wicky-wacky on you, it'll just get worse when you go on down the line. So let's make sure we're set up at all of the openings really nice. Good here. I'm going to start with this first one here because I got to make sure that this is lining up with my edge right here. And then I'm just going to be pushing kind of towards me and down at the same time. You hear the clip, clip. Make sure these don't go off on you. Clip. Good. Good. So that's all nice and neat. Sometimes this rubber edge on the outside will kind of like tuck in. All you got to do is just get a little plastic spatula and run it along the line there, and it'll help fold it on out. Now we can go ahead and do the inside. It's basically going to be about the same thing on this also. You'll just pull back the rubber here in the back a little bit and tuck this into the corner. We'll make sure that the front of it isn't too long. Might need trimming possibly. Get that in there. Okay, got it set in my clips. Make sure the glass is forward. Okay, now it's looking good. All right, so I'll get to the other side. It'll be the same thing, towards me and down. Now, since your vent window went right here, there aren't any clips to hold onto this weather strip right here. So your kit comes with a really little itty bitty screw. You're going to take a really little drill bit and you're going to drill right in here. Now you only have about 1/8 of an inch of metal right there to grab a hold of, so it's a little bit tough, but you're just going to drill a hole right there, and then you're going to screw your little screw in, and then this is going to be nice and taut and safe for you. Okay, so you remember this little rubber stop that we took out in the beginning? We're going to need to go ahead and put that back in. Now, more than likely yours just fell out and you're going to want to order a new one when you do that. Now that's in there because when you roll your window down, it's going to stop it from going all the way and going below your whiskers right here and getting off a track. Now that brings up a good point that we got a giant warehouse right here, so I didn't have to take this door apart and see what was bad or not because I have the parts sitting around. But you at home don't have that kind of luxury. You're going to want to take your door panel off. You're going to want to take your door regulator out, your window regulator out. You're going to want to double check everything. What you're looking for on your window regulator and your door regulator is making sure these splines are nice, and make sure the splines in your handles are nice so that it just doesn't spin on you. You're going to want to make sure that the wheels in the window regulators are good, all 3 of them. Make sure your door regulator gets good. The spring goes bad in those a lot of times. Now here you've got your door latch, and this is impossible to get to once you've got this all assembled. You'd have to take out your rear channel right here in order to be able to get to that, or to get to your door handle or your lock. So make sure that you disassemble your door first. Make sure that you see what you need and what might help bring the truck up another level with new door handles and such, new door panels, new inside handles, new door regulator handles. So go ahead and make sure that you've got everything inspected before you make your order. Get everything in one shot so you don't get halfway through your project to find out you got to get back on the phone and order some more stuff. My name is David Welch. I am at Brothers Tech Center every single week, making sure your truck gets back on the road and looks good too. You make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because every time you do, they give me 10 cents.